The wind howled through the empty canyon like a mourning widow. Evening light bled across the plains, painting the sky in strokes of orange and rust. On the far edge of the Whitaker Ranch, smoke curled from a lonely chimney, thin, tired, and uncertain, just like the man who lived beneath it. Eli Whitaker had buried his wife 3 weeks ago. He'd built the pine coffin himself, planned the boards by lantern light, his calloused hands trembling as he fitted them together. The woman who'd shared his every dawn and dusk for 10 years now lay under the cottonwood behind the barn, and in the cradle beside his bed cried the only piece of her he had left, a baby boy who didn't understand why his mother never came when he wailed. Eli hadn't slept more than an hour in a row since the funeral. His face looked carved from grief. He fed the boy what milk he could buy in town, but the baby grew weaker by the day. The ranch hands whispered that the boss was losing both mind and land, and soon enough, no one would stay to work a place haunted by crying and silence. That's when she came, on a wagon headed nowhere. Martha Keene climbed down from the back of the supply wagon with a burlap sack and an apron tied too tight around her middle. She was a large woman, broad in the shoulders, soft in the belly, her cheeks pink from wind and shame. She had worked in more kitchens than she could count, but folks never looked her in the eye long enough to remember her name. The driver muttered, "You sure about this ranch, ma'am?" "Folks say the owner ain't been right since his wife passed." She nodded. "Reckon I've been not right my whole life. Guess we'll get along fine." She trudged toward the farmhouse, boots sinking into the mud, and knocked. The door opened just a crack. Eli Whitaker stood there, gaunt and hollow-eyed, shirt half-buttoned, a baby crying behind him. "What do you want?" His voice was gravel. "I'm the new cook, sir. Sent from town. Mrs. Caldwell said you needed help around the house." He rubbed a hand across his stubble. "I didn't ask for a cook." "No, sir. But you need one." Her tone was calm but steady. "You got a child needs feeding in a house that smells like a graveyard." For a long moment he just stared at her. Then without a word he stepped aside. The kitchen was chaos. Pans stacked in piles, bread gone moldy, milk soured. The baby's cries echoed down the hall. Martha didn't ask permission. She rolled up her sleeves, started boiling water, scrubbing dishes, sweeping floors. Within an hour, the room smelled of biscuits and bacon instead of sorrow. Eli watched from the doorway, uncertain what to make of her. She moved with quiet determination, her heavy frame bending over the table like a mother hen shielding her chicks. She didn't flinch at the mess or the man. When the baby started screaming again, she turned and said softly, "He needs milk, sir." Eli muttered, "He won't take it." "Tried near everything." Martha wiped her hands on her apron. "Then let me try." He hesitated, almost offended. "You?" She looked down, twisting her apron string. "I ain't much to look at, sir. No one's ever wanted me for my face or figure. But I lost a babe once. My body still remembers. I can nurse him if you'll let me." Eli's breath caught. He hadn't expected that. He looked at the woman, plain, kind-eyed, round as the harvest moon, and saw something he hadn't seen in weeks. Hope. "You'd do that?" He whispered. She nodded, voice trembling but sure. "No one wants a fat girl, sir. But I can nurse the baby." He swallowed hard, eyes glistening. Then he said the only words he could manage. "Then stay." From that day on, Martha Keene became the heart of the Whitaker Ranch. The baby, named Thomas, though everyone called him Tommy, thrived under her care. Her milk gave him color and life. He stopped crying through the night, and for the first time in weeks, Eli slept, sometimes in the chair by the crib, sometimes sitting on the porch where he could hear Martha humming lullabies inside. Martha never asked for anything in return. She cooked, cleaned, and mended. And when Tommy slept, she'd stand by the window, looking out over the fields, whispering prayers for the wife she'd never met but somehow felt she knew. The hands on the ranch noticed the change too. They started staying longer, eating better, smiling more. Martha's laughter filled the rooms like sunlight through dirty glass. Eli tried to keep his distance, tried to remind himself she was just the cook, but he couldn't help watching her. The way she cooed at Tommy, the way she hummed old hymns while stirring stew, the way her eyes softened when she spoke of her lost child. One night, as snow began to fall outside, Eli found her by the fire with Tommy asleep on her shoulder. The boy's tiny hand was curled in her hair. Eli stood there, heart aching with something he couldn't name. "You look good with him," he said quietly. She smiled sadly. "Don't tease me, sir. I know what I am." "What are you?" "A big woman who's had too many doors shut in her face." "I'm not blind. I see the way folks look. Fat means foolish to them, weak, unlovable." Eli shook his head. "You're wrong, Martha." She looked up, surprised. He stepped closer, voice low. "Weak people don't keep babies alive, or bring life back into a house that was ready to die." Her eyes shimmered. "You're kind to say it." He nodded toward the sleeping boy. "That ain't kindness. That's truth." As winter deepened, something warm began to grow between them. It wasn't fast or fierce like young love. It was slow, steady, like a hearth built log by log. Martha would find small notes from Eli. "You make the best cornbread this side of the river," or "Tommy smiled today, thank you." He'd linger a little longer after supper, sometimes reading aloud from his Bible just to hear her quiet hums of agreement. But there were whispers in town. The widower and the fat cook, living alone out there, raising a baby together. Folks talk easy when their lives are small. When the rumors reached Martha's ears, she almost packed her things that night. She couldn't bear to ruin what peace Eli had found. Eli caught her by the door. "Where are you going?" "They're talking, sir. Saying ugly things. I won't bring shame to your name." He looked at her, really looked, and said, "Martha, this house stopped caring what the world said the day it buried my wife. What matters is what's right under this roof. You, me, and that boy." Her tears fell freely then. "You don't have to defend me." "I ain't defending you," he said softly. "I'm keeping what's good." Spring came. The fields turned green again, and so did Eli's spirit. He started fixing the fence lines, planting new seed, hiring back the old ranch hands who'd left. Every day he'd see Martha on the porch, Tommy on her hip, both waving as he rode out. And every evening he'd find supper hot, laughter waiting, and a home that finally felt alive. One afternoon, a traveling preacher came by, offering blessings for the new season. He noticed how close Eli and Martha stood, how her hand lingered on the baby's back. With a knowing smile, he said, "A house built on kindness seldom falls. Mr. Whitaker, you've been blessed twice over." That night, as the stars bloomed over the prairie, Eli sat beside Martha by the fire. Tommy slept in her lap again, peaceful and chubby. "Martha," he began, voice thick, "I've been thinking. A man can lose his way easy out here, but sometimes God sends help in strange forms. You came here when I was ready to quit. You saved my son. You saved me." She shook her head, embarrassed. "You give me too much credit." "No," he said firmly. "You gave me back my life." He took a breath, hands trembling. "I can't promise I'll ever stop missing her. But I know this, Tommy needs you. I need you. Not as a cook. Not as a helper." Her heart pounded. "What are you saying, Eli?" He looked at her, eyes steady and full of something strong and tender. "I'm saying stay not because you have to. Stay because this house ain't a home without you." Tears rolled down her cheeks one after another. She reached for his hand, calloused and rough, and held it to her heart. "I never thought anyone would want me, Eli. Not really." He smiled through his own tears. "Then you never met a man who saw what I see." They were married under the cottonwood where his first wife rested. Eli said no woman replaced another, only added new chapters to a man's story. Martha placed wildflowers on the grave and whispered, "Thank you for letting me love them." Years passed and the ranch flourished. Tommy grew strong, calling her Mama before he could even say Pa. When neighbors came by, they no longer saw a fat cook or a broken widower. They saw a family. Sometimes, in quiet evenings, Martha would catch her reflection in the window. Round, lined with age, apron-stained, and she'd smile. She remembered the girl who once believed she wasn't enough, and she'd whisper, "See? Someone wanted the fat girl after all." And somewhere in that wide western sky, the wind carried her words over fields of gold, soft, proud, eternal.